Hey everyone, Miff here, and welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate saga with SCS. And here we are at the Adventurer Mart, and we have a lot of things to do here. Let's check out some unique conversations first. Here's Gareth, and he asks us about some salamander dust. Apparently his vision is not too great in his old years, I guess. Yeah, why not ask the storekeeper? Ribald, we are not on speaking terms. He tried to charge me 3 coppers for a bottle of pitch and a clutch of mice tails. Outrageous. I won't speak to him until he apologizes. How do you buy anything here then? Very quietly. So yeah, he wants some salamander dust. We can direct him like way over to the other side. And he's just going to have a generic response after that. Here's Brelm. A very similar name to a scimitar called Belm, and he has a couple of different things to say, some banters with Ribald over here. Yeah, sometimes one of them is about like the Cowled Wizards. Those are pretty funny, like I'm just going to click through them. Hopefully he's not going to repeat the same thing too many times. But yeah, these are pretty funny. Feel free to, of course, as always, pause and read them for yourself. Okay, one more for the road. Oh yeah, this is about the Cowled Wizards. You've never even met a Cowled Wizard. Yeah, so some friendly back and forth. So Ribald here is the main merchant. Yes, he's the owner of the Adventurer Mart, and first we're going to pickpocket a ring of regeneration from him. That's the only thing that he has. We're not going to be able to identify it right now, but it basically regenerates 1 hit point per round, so 1 hit point per 6 seconds. And this is a really good ring, and if they were available in Baldur's Gate 1, they would be just insanely good. And I forgot to sell this katana, now that I'm noticing that. They would be insanely good in Baldur's Gate 1 with the amount of times that you travel in between areas for many hours, because basically they are really good for just naturally healing kind of for free your characters that, actually let's put it on Jaheira for now. Just over time, especially as you're traveling in between areas, or if you go to rest, you can just put that ring of regen on someone and they're basically going to be fully healed up after the 8-hour rest. Or although when it comes to traveling in Baldur's Gate 2, the time you spend traveling actually in between areas is much reduced from Baldur's Gate 1, but it's still really nice to just, you know, kind of get some free healing. So it's really nice to get this ring right away, right at the beginning of your playthrough, where you kind of need this kind of like free healing the most, I guess. It's like really convenient to have this. Anyway, here Ribald is going to have Ribald Bartman. He's going to have a little conversation with Jaheira. Apparently they know about each other, and I like him already. You'll not bring Harper trouble to me doorstep, good lady. Might I remind you that me days of involvement with your kind are long over? Yeah, Ribald is a former adventurer that just settled to a peaceful, quiet life of a merchant, and he likes it much more. There's some conversation options that we can explore with him that he's going to tell us about that choice. And this one, this thing he says actually is his one of his other voiced lines. Adventurer Mart is the finest shopping in all Faerun. Widest selection, lowest prices, and nary a fancy illustration. Just the goods, bare and plain. Right, so he's the main vendor here, and let's kind of examine some of his goods that we're going to buy a little bit later once we get some cash. So he has, you know, some kind of equipment choices return here from Baldur's Gate 1, like this Cereris blade. That's a halberd +2 that in Baldur's Gate 1 you can get from Zalimar Cloudwolf, the leader of Sarevok's acolytes. Here is Borok's Fist, which is essentially Ashidina, exactly the same kind of a +2 warhammer with 1 electrical damage. So yeah, just like I mentioned, you know, exporting some weapons from Baldur's Gate 1, some of them are like more valuable than others, but you know, Ashidina was just the natural choice for us, and we didn't really would have much use for some other weapons that you can export. And he basically has a selection of like +1, +2 weapons, and some notable like other equipment, like the Staff of Rin, for example. This is just kind of like a plain quarterstaff, but it is notable because it has a +4 enchantment, which matters. In Baldur's Gate 2, there's going to be a lot of different like magical creatures that will actually require a certain type of enchantment, and the Staff of Rin, the enchantment being +4, it actually makes it really notable when it comes to being able to just damage certain powerful opponents. And you can just buy it here, you know, you don't need to engage in any difficult adventures to obtain it. So yeah, some +1, +2 stuff. He has, oh yeah, this is a nice crossbow, although if you have Watcher's Keep, so if you have an enhanced edition, or, you know, pretty much any version that's of Baldur's Gate 2 that's sold nowadays includes the Throne of Bhaal expansion. There's basically like an even better crossbow of that kind of type, but you can see +3 damage, +2 fire damage on it. A very nice crossbow, but if you have Watcher's Keep, you can buy yourself a Firetooth crossbow, a +4 enchanted crossbow that also has like fire damage on it, and it's just even better than this one. But this one is notable as well. Then you have the giant hair crossbow with +5 damage. And it only requires 15 strength, you know, like composite longbows don't have that kind of a big damage bonus, and they require 18 strength. And here, like you can see that I forgot to show that once we stole that composite longbow +1 for Minsk. In Baldur's Gate 1 it had +3 damage. In Baldur's Gate 2 it only has +1 damage, so yeah. There is this bow Strong Arm here, which is one of the most damaging longbows because it has +3 damage, big deal, and it actually requires 19 strength to be able to use. So yeah, not a very good deal. Also projectiles, armors. This one is notable because it provides you with these nice resistances and immunity to confusion, but these other ones like Armor of Deep Night or like Karaja's Life and Death, they're just like, you know, plus whatever enchanted leather armors. There are some mods that make those armors more interesting. Yeah, some full plate mails, all that kind of stuff. When it comes to the shields, the Fortress Shield is notable with its +4 armor class and +7 versus missile. And it would be a decent purchase for Jaheira, for example, with her tankiness that we intend her to, you know, possess that kind of tanky quality. But we're going to be able to get like better options, maybe not in terms of armor class, but generally like all around better options for free soon. One good shield, very notable, is this Reflection Shield. This is really good for Eri, and if I planned to keep Eri for longer, I would definitely buy this at some point. Because this is a small shield, and that would be able to, because she's a cleric mage, she would be able to use a small shield like that, and it would provide her with a little, you know, armor class bonus. But also the main property of it is that it reflects projectiles back at the user, so she would be much less vulnerable to getting interrupted by different projectiles that people would be, you know, sometimes shooting at her in order to interrupt her spells. So yeah, we have the Victor, which is kind of a notable ring as well, although the damage is not that much, not that impressive, but you know, as it was the case in Baldur's Gate 1, this damage here is considered like a level 0 spell, so it goes through like minor globe of invulnerability and globe of invulnerability. Also, there's Bracers of Defense AC 3, the best kind of AC bracers that he has available there for purchase. He also has quite a few potions, not the most extensive selection of potions, but you know, you can get yourself some more potions of Master Thievery here. Very many good scrolls, both green scrolls and normal like spell scrolls. And the notable thing to mention here are these protection from magic scrolls. He has actually 2 copies here, and I think in Shadows of Amn you can get a grand total of 3. And 2 out of the 3 he has just for sale. So this is, and they're really cheap actually for the power they grant you. And yeah, some really good spells like Mordenkainen's Sword, for example, a level 7 summon that's very good. Breach, Secret Word, yeah, some really good spells. Rod of Resurrection, a very cool item that we're going to use. SCS actually breaks its power into 2 separate charges, one for healing and one for raising dead. There's a few of these Rods of Resurrection, one that we're going to be able to get for free from the sewers. But yeah, very useful for providing a quick full heal all resurrecting. And this Ring of Air Control is a cool ring, basically of improved invisibility, although the improved invisibility only lasts for 1 turn, so not too long, and this Charm Air Elemental doesn't really matter. There are some situations where you can attempt to use that. Also, this Sword of Flame, I think in one of the previous episodes I kind of should rephrase what I said, because I said that, you know, what I meant is that there was no direct like equivalent to Varskona. There is a sword that, a long sword that deals elemental damage, but it's just a +1 enchanted longsword, so actually it really can't hit quite a few opponents. And also fire damage is worse generally than cold damage, because fire damage is generally the most kind of like most often resisted type of damage, or most type of creatures and spells make the recipients like immune to fire damage or resistant. So, you know, it's still nice that you can get, it's still a nice sword to get at some point and have it in your arsenal when fighting in some, like, you know, stone-skinned mages and whatnot, but, you know, it's not as good as Varskona that you can bring from Baldur's Gate 1, which is of course a +2 longsword, and it has cold damage on it. And also the last of the notable items is this 19 strength belt that we're going to be able to get for Jaheira probably at some point. We're not really going to buy anything from him here. Also one notable vendor, merchant here, that he mentions. I think one of these like banters between Brelm and Rybold mentioned Lucy, the wyvern here. So kind of like a friendly wyvern. Now this Deidre, I guess, Deidre, is a kind of a bonus vendor that was introduced in a later patch, and if you have like an old version of the classic Baldur's Gate 2, you might not have her. Although, you know, like I said, nowadays like every version of Baldur's Gate 2 have them, but there are mods that basically introduce those for like older versions of Baldur's Gate 2. Anyway, she's kind of like the Planescape Torment vendor, and another of the bonus vendors in the Copper Coronet is kind of like the Icewind Dale vendor. And why I say she is a Planescape Torment vendor is because she has these items that reference people or organizations from Planescape Torment. So, you know, you can steal from her. That would be way too imbalanced, I guess. Way too broken. But yeah, you can have like this Dakon's Zarth Blade, for example, which is, I guess, a decent enough offhand for a fighter mage, but generally, when it comes to offhands, speed weapons rule the day, so... there's actually a cool mod that allows you to upgrade this blade in like 3 different ways. You get to choose which kind of version you can get out of it. So pretty cool idea, because yeah, people recognize that it's kind of, you know, nice to have these extra spell slots and whatnot, but compared to some different offhands, it's a little lackluster. Yeah, the Sensei Amulet, again, I just want to showcase because, you know, this is the thing I dislike with Enhanced Edition. Like, you have to deduce from all this, like, what class can use this. Clerics can use this amulet. But, you know, shouldn't it just say usable by cleric? You know, that would be so much better than not usable by and like 10 classes. Anyway, so here's the Harmonium Halberd, and that's a very good halberd. A +3/1 that you can just buy here. And it actually gives you +1 strength. So if you have any amount of like 18 strength with like exceptional, like whatever, this is going to provide you generally with a big boost. The downsides are basically don't matter at all. And this can be just your go-to halberd that you can just, like I said, you know, just buy for yourself. It's not too expensive. And this can be like your go-to halberd that brings your strength up to 19, which is usually a decent boost to both Thaco and damage. So yeah, a great piece of equipment here. And we have Plate of Balduran and Sword of Balduran. There are some mods that upgrade these items because, you know, they are pretty lackluster, like +1 charisma and +4 hit points. Wow, big deal. The Sword of Balduran gives you magic resistance, so it's notable for that reason and improves your lore a little bit. Then you have the Mercy Killer ring. I think that's a ring that we're going to eventually get to Kiranai to improve her stealthy abilities and also set traps, which she is going to level up as probably like the dead last thief skill. And of course she's never going to touch pickpocketing, because as you can see, you can just buff up pickpocketing to ridiculous amounts by just using potions. And then we have the Shield of Balduran, and SCS has a component to remove it, but SCS also has a component to alter the beholder's AI so that they can use actually their telekinesis powers to steal this shield from you. And because, you know, its unique property is that it reflects beholder rays, and I decided to keep it on. I'm going to talk about beholders and the shield and all that at a later point. I'm going to have a rant about beholders probably and their design. But yeah, it's not going to be as powerful as it normally is with SCS, and we're going to probably just, you know, use it just here and there. Alright, anyway. The vendor we want to really speak to here is Lady Youth, or Youth.
Is it important, peasant?
And she illegally sells magical scrolls, I guess. And we can talk a little bit about the Cowled Wizards. They are as corrupt as anyone else in this city, if you know who to talk to. So she can mention, yeah, that you can buy yourself a license to cast spells from Cornel in the government district. Anyway, let's take a look at her scrolls, and she actually has a lot of good scrolls as well. And also, one thing that I would like to mention when it comes to stealing scrolls, we're also not going to go overboard with that. Like I mentioned in the last episode, we're not going to go absolutely insane on our stealing spree. The thing I wanted to mention here, for example, is that you have this spell Confusion, and since it's a level 4 spell, it's going to grant us 4,000 experience as we scribe it. In Baldur's Gate 2 you get much more experience for scribing spells. And it's a really kind of a fast way. It's a really good leveling trick, I guess, especially after you dual class into a mage. You can just remove everyone from your party so that you get the experience amounts all for yourself, and then you can just scribe a mass amount of scrolls to basically especially when you dual class at level 9, to just finish that dual class immediately just by scribing a bunch of scrolls. And what you can do is buy or steal yourself multiple copies of each spell, and you can scribe it to your spellbook, then remove it from your spellbook, scribe it again for another 4,000, remove it, scribe it again for another 4,000, and you can keep doing that for as many scrolls of the same spell that you have. I am not going to do that. I'm just going to steal one copy of various spells so that we can get some experience, although I'm not going to remove everyone. You'll see how I'm going to handle the dual class soon. But yeah, we're basically just going to steal some scrolls, quite a few of them, just to give ourselves options so that Senashira's spellbook can be filled with different spells, so that she has options depending on the encounters we're going to face. And I am going to steal multiple copies of some spells, but not for using them to get great amounts of experience, but so that we can cast them from spells, from the scrolls, I mean. And that's especially going to be useful for Kiranai. Kiranai is going to have her own scroll case, and basically, like I said, we're going to be collecting certain scrolls for her, so that once she gets the access to high level ability use any item, she can actually cast these spells from scrolls. And so, for example, we're going to steal the mirror images from her, so that once she gets access to use any item and she can use scrolls, she will be able to buff herself up with mirror images from these scrolls. So we're going to be collecting certain scrolls that are just useful, that are going to be useful for her, and we're going to just steal multiple copies of just useful spells so that we can have them in the form of scrolls. Alright, so Yoshimo, let's get to it. I think I'm not going to go too crazy. These green scrolls, well, I might take one of each, I guess, just so we have the option. She has one of each. Yeah, let's bring our whole party over here so we can quickly reorganize our loot. As Yoshimo fills his inventory with all the different stuff. Oh yeah, I first have to get another scroll case from her. And I could actually get another gem bag from Rybold. I only basically have 2 gem bags, or maybe 3, because one gem bag I use for different notable jewelry that I don't want to, situational ones like these rings of invisibility and whatnot. One for just general gems for selling, and there are a few cases where you will get a really big stack of gems, so that's why a 3rd gem bag is useful, but generally 2 is all you need, really.
I don't usually speak to the likes of you, but
yeah, let's see what we have. So yeah, let's first get that, oh yeah, stealing. Let's first get that scroll case, thank you very much. Yeah, she has some really nice, level 7 and even higher spells. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to steal multiple of Symbol Stun. Remove Curse is actually a really useful scroll to have in Baldur's Gate 2 because in SCS, because clay golems in SCS actually place a curse on you that you cannot regain any health with that curse on yourself. Yeah, let's just start with some basics. I think we have some of these, like we have friends. But, you know, once she dual classes to a mage, she's going to have 0 spells in her spellbook. So we need to fill it up with some basic spells too, so that she has some options. And yeah, with stealing, you can't like steal multiple. You have to do it one by one. Actually, first let's give this to Jaheira. Let's put these green scrolls and these restoration scrolls here. And she's going to be the keeper of these kind of utility scrolls. And here we can just have Senashira's, oh yeah, these remove curse actually can go to the other scroll case, just so we have everything organized. Okay, let's get back to it.
Peasant?
Peasant? I just noticed that I bought these scrolls. Okay. A little gold that we invested in that stealing spree, I guess. I was like, why isn't the screen going back to the top of her selection? But that was because we were buying those and not stealing. Okay. Because, you know, this is what happens when you want to... Like, stealing an infravision scroll, man. That is just rock bottom. But yeah, this is what happens when you want to do stuff quickly. Instead of, you know, checking out which scrolls you already have and which ones you don't. I'm going to pick up multiple invisibility scrolls because that's just a useful spell to have. Some knocks we won't really need because we will have... Right now we have buffed up Yoshimo who can open any lock right now. And then soon enough we're going to have Kirinai as a thief. And she's going to have max. She's going to have the max. Oh yeah. Where are the blurs? Yeah, there's one Stoneskin, one improved invisibility, because this is going to be stuff, of course, for Senashira, but these we're going to have to for a separate scroll case with these multiple use scrolls. Like it's really important for me to like organize this loot right from the beginning, so that later on down the road, when we play the game, we won't have to waste time on like trying to find like where did I put like this particular scroll that I'm trying to find.
I don't usually speak to the likes of you, but
Alright, let's make sure we're stealing. I'm not sure if I had Melf's Acid Arrow, Resist Fear. Resist Fear is always good to have a couple of copies. Yeah, imagine how much gold it would take to just buy all these spells, man. Yeah, these mirror images we're going to steal. By the way, when you... I forgot to mention, isn't it weird that you have merchants like Arledrian there selling you potions of master thievery and potions of perception that make it easier to steal from you as a merchant? Like, why would you ever sell these potions? Wouldn't you want to just, you know, hide these potions and like... I think we have Flame Arrow and Fireball. Wouldn't you want to just like make sure that these potions never get into the hands of your quote-unquote customers? So that, you know, they don't have these sick stealing skills to like basically rob you of your whole inventory, of your whole stock, without you even noticing.
is it important, peasant?
By the way, this is we're just going to rob I think a couple scrolls from Galump possibly, but this is going to be as far as we go with this, so do not worry. If this is boring, it's going to end very soon. Yeah, Skull Trap. Although Senashira is not going to be using damage spells really, but I'm going to pick up a couple of Ghost Armors because Ghost Armor is going to be a decent armor class buff for Senashira once she is a mage. So that's going to be actually something that she can use from a scroll. Yeah, Confusion. I think I'm not going to get multiple Confusion. I would like to have some Chaos from scrolls. Yeah, improved invisibility might be nice for Kirinai when she gets use any item. So I'm going to pick up a couple of those, a couple of minor globes. Those are always useful. Yeah, maybe even a third one. Now let's get a limited wish. Where was it? Yeah, let's keep track of on like where we left off. So this is going to go to Kiranai, this is going to go to the scroll case. Should be running out of room probably soon, but these containers in Baldur's Gate 2, I think they are more, they have more room in there.
Yoshimo is willing.
I think you get like, I think you get like 100 spaces in each. So like potion case can still get filled up pretty quickly. Oh yeah, these stone skins for Kiranai for sure. Motion might even get some identify scrolls, so we can just identify some stuff on the go. Just for kind of like the let's play purposes of just showing what loot we got, so we don't have to believe my word when I explain what items we got. Vocalize are nice to keep, just in terms of in the form of scrolls, not so much to like ever memorize them. We will never memorize vocalize. And also in Baldur's Gate 2 there's a very nice amulet that provides the vocalize effect. Do we have a deafness? Just so we fill up our spell book, and I think we are done when it comes to Lady Youth. So thank you very much, dear lady, for all of your goods. We need another scroll case. But yeah, we now have a nice selection of like basic kind of spells to bring Senashira up to speed once she dual classes into a mage. And we're just going to check out Galump's selection, and that's going to be it when it comes to stealing. So Galump, buddy, how are you doing? Let's just quick save in case something goes wrong.
Welcome to my humble establishment.
Oh yeah, SCS places a couple of freedom scrolls in the stocks of these scroll merchants, because with SCS kind of more enemies, and it's kind of nice to have them available earlier. You can get imprisoned, like some of your guys can get imprisoned, and the only way to get them out is casting a freedom scroll. So I'm going to pick up a few there. Hopefully we'll not need any. There's one needed for a quest much later in the game. Alright, what else can we get? We have one of these. I'm going to try to remember that Galump has some more green scrolls. Although, really, will I remember? Let's just get them. So we don't ever have to check out Galump's inventory ever again. Now what else does he have that we don't already have? I don't think we have Chromatic Orb. He has some more Blur. Yes, please. Just for future scroll use. Yeah, invisibility. We're going to have a lot of potions of invisibility as well, I think. Yeah, some more mirror images. You know, like I said, this might be pretty boring. Although I hope it's still, you know, seeing what we do here, still not too bad in that regard. But you know, it's just we will do that once at the beginning of the game, and then we're going to be set. I'm not sure if we have non-detection. Oh yeah, Spirit Armor is a decent spell. Oh yeah, Yoshimo is out of space here. This is so nice having like multiple scroll cases and multiple just containers of every kind. This is really awesome.
The customer is always right.
Alright, so what did he have here? I'm not sure. Yeah, we have Wizard's Eye, I think. Enchanted Weapon, Feeble Mind. Oh yes, I saw Chaos there. Very nice, very nice. We're going to get ourselves a couple of Chaos for sure. Oh yeah, Domination. Oh yeah, Shadow Door. Oh yeah, Cone of Cold, Cloud Kill, Animate Dead. Oh yes. Yes, please. Give it to me. Try to listening to my commentary with closed eyes, I guess. Oh yeah, Polymorph Self is a cool spell. Oh yeah, these Spirit Armors. I want to have a couple of them to maybe use them from scrolls. This is going to be also a really nice armor class spell for our Kensai ladies. Greater Malison. We're going to, I think, end up with having like 3 mages in Shadows of Amn, so Greater Malison setups and combos are on the table, I guess. Although I usually don't go for that kind of thing. Basically what I'm referring to is that you can set up some like instant kills in certain situations, even on opponents like dragons, if you just reduce their saving throws by enough and if you are lucky, to like kill them with an instant death from Chromatic Orb and stuff like that. Oh yeah, the container is full. Yes. Alright, so Yoshimo is going to just hold on for this to this for now. We are going to get we are going to learn these spells very soon, so
What is it?
and we're also going to get more scroll cases soon. Alright, how's our time? Wow. Okay, this is going to be the stealing spree episode, I guess. Because it's going to be time to end this. But yeah, this is enough stealing for now. We're going to do another stealing spree a little bit later in the game.
At your service.
I just want that gem bag when I'm thinking about it. And Kiranai is going to hold on to that.
Yes?
But yeah, we're basically done with stealing for now. There is going to be another stealing spree later on in the game,
Quickly and precisely.
but that's not going to be for a while. Alright, so now we're done. We have our supplies, and in the next episode we are going to get back to some adventuring and exploring more of Athkatla. So, thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.